I have a video of Michael Irvin that was shit. Fuck. Damn. Ow. That hurt. Damn. Fucking wind. Ow. Well, good morning, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, and of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Lucky Beaver. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Welcome to game day. It's game day, people. Can you believe it? You know what? I might just go ahead and do not the big sub, not the big sub, but do like an 18-inch sub. Maybe I'll do that today. We'll do an Italian sub, maybe, or maybe a fried fish sub. Maybe I'll do that. What do you think? Fried fish sub? I don't know. I hadn't even thought about game day eats here. You know, but I got to think about it because we don't have that much time. I'm actually a little late this morning getting started because me and the missus went for a walk this morning because we're trying to do better and get our health and stuff going on because we may need to live a long time to see the Cowboys win another Super Bowl. Because Jerry Jones, you know, he might have found the fountain of youth there or something or other, or he might have some artificial stuff that keeps him living forever. And he keeps on screwing everything up because we know everything's screwed up with Micah Parsons. But tonight we got football. And, you know, I want to talk about some of the things and guys that I really want to I'm looking forward to. One of them is Dak Prescott's replacement. You know how it is. Joe Milton, he's coming for Dak Prescott's job. He's the great hope to get Dak Prescott moved out. All the Dak haters are praying that he does good. But, you know, I just want to go back a little bit here because it was interesting to me last night watching one of the guys that they said there's no difference between Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton. Let's go to the tape real quick here. Andy freaking Dalton. You know, the man's talented. The man's talented. He self-sacked himself. Watch this. Watch it. Boom. Oh, oop. Don't. Oh. This guy, they literally said there's no difference between him and Dak Prescott. Okay, and if that wasn't bad enough, let's go to the very next play. Let's watch the next play. Andy Dalton, bootleg. Whoops. Don't. Oh, shit. Wrong sound. Wrong one. Sorry. Oh, shit. Yeah, it was a rough night for Andy Dalton. But you know who it wasn't a rough night for? You know who it wasn't a rough night for? That would be Shadur Sanders. Because right now, Shadur Sanders is making a lot of people look kind of stupid. Like, if you are, I'm just going to say hypothetically, I need to talk to my buddy Richard and see how he's feeling about the Steelers keeping the door open for Aaron frickin' Rodgers and getting rid of George Pickens because they were bringing in Aaron Rodgers. When you could have drafted this guy with the 5th round pick. This was the owner of the Cleveland Browns just a week ago.
If you'd have told me, so you picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shadur. I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shadur. Just like who's going to start or what play we're going to call is Kevin's call. But that's Andrew's call. He made the call. If you do.
Now, here's an interesting take. Shadur, literally, you have to actually, I don't know how you feel about Shadur Sanders, but to take what happened to him, because you remember We literally had people saying that the Cowboys were going to hire Deion Sanders and they were going to do whatever it took to draft Shadur, that he was going to be the quarterback of the Cowboys, okay? Including, you know who also said that. He said literally from Michael Irvin's mouth. Here was him last night taking the high road after literally being dropped and dropped and dropped in the draft and then denigrated over and over again after last night having 2 TD passes and looking far and away better than what they got from Deshaun Watson right now as a rookie for chump change.
Tony, I be hoping you be. Hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You always say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't see nothing positive that you ever say. I think I'm positive every day. What I'm saying? Come on, Tony. What I do? What I do to you, Tony?
What I do to you, Tony?
Tony, I be hoping you be. Hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You always say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't see nothing positive that you ever say. I think I'm positive every day. What I'm saying? Come on, Tony. What I do? What I do to you, Tony?
What I do, Tony? If that ain't Deion Sanders reincarnated right there. If that ain't Deion, what I do, that is Deion. And you look at what he did on the field last night. It's preseason. I get it. You know, it's early. But I got to tell you, seeing like Cooper Rush, first play he threw, interception. Seeing a veteran, Andy frickin' Dalton, self-sacking. Shadur looked pretty good. And I bet you a lot of teams out there like, say, I don't know, the Steelers, the Giants, they're looking and saying, why didn't we draft that guy? All right, so we have our game tonight. Thank goodness we got the Cowboys. We can actually talk about a football game as opposed to all of the distractions of Jerry Jones and the Micah Parsons situation. You know, here's where I think it was like, wasn't it like around the 20th or 21st when CD got his contract last year? Wasn't it opening weekend that Dak got his? I believe it was the 14th when Zach Martin got his extension. So we're not, you know, and Zeke, heck, I know it was after at least one preseason game before we signed Zeke. So we are still sitting in that still window of getting this thing done. But tonight we have the game. Now we got the latest hope for the Cowboys, which is Joe Milton. All of the Dak Prescott haters are praying that Joe Milton is the guy. Now, Joe Milton has got one hell of a rocket for an arm. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He can throw the ball deep. That wasn't his problem going in. The problem we had with with Joe Milton was actually some of his touch passes and things in there. But I am looking forward to seeing Joe Milton play tonight, okay? We've seen some great plays and stuff, and this is where, you know, sometimes – in practice, you're only seeing the highlights. And this is one of those things that happens to work against the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys are so covered, you see every bad play or you see the good plays that sometimes they're overemphasize some of the bad plays, you know, because it's like, oh, my God, here's a pick in practice. And they show it over and over and over again, but they don't show necessarily all the good ones because you really need to see everything in totality. But seeing Joe Milton with that rocket for an arm, you know, literally, you know, there's rumors that he could throw a 90-yard pass. If that's the case, that may be a world record in there. But definitely seeing how he's come with his touch passes. Now, with, of course, Brian Schottenheimer, and this being early in preseason, you're not really game planning for this. You are not bringing out your best plays. You're going to be completely vanilla. As he put it, it's going to be a 7-iron. So it's going to be hard to really judge everything that they do because you're going to do some other things that you're going to scheme up plays that'll help to get guys open. You're not trying to show any of that right now. So that's one aspect that you're not going to really see to get a true feel for it. However, when you see guys self-sacking themselves like Andy Dalton, you can say that's ass. And when you see Shadur being able to, create some space running with his legs, as well as some really nice touchdown passes, you can kind of say, yeah, he looks like he's got it. So we'll find out if Joe Milton with the Dallas Cowboys has got it. But at the moment, it's not looking too bad. Now, I will say Trey Lance did not look awful in his first game, which was kind of overshadowed. But he actually played really well. So, there's that. But I'm still happy we got Joe Milton instead of paying all the money that we would have had to for Cooper Rush. Of course, Tyler Booker. I'm not sure if Tyler Booker is playing tonight, but he definitely needs to play. I want to see how it's one thing to talk the talk. To say, hey, I'm not scared to go out here. I've been playing, against elite talent all my life. It's another thing when you actually get out there the first time and your eyes are wide open. Now, the thing that makes me concerned is the fact that Rob Jones had actually moved ahead of Tyler Booker in the depth chart. Was that because Rob Jones was playing outstanding and you looked at it and said, oh, my God, he's like Zach Martin? Or was it that Tyler Booker left a bit to be desired? Well, we're going to find out a little bit more. And so we'll find out, is he really a guy who can only play in a phone booth? Or is he a guy who's going to be a road grader and is going to be a stud from day one? With us, there's a logjam at wide receiver because we have so many guys. I mean, we know who 1 and 2 is. Okay, we know George Pickett and CeeDee Lamb are there. But now is the battle for the number 3 spot. Jalen Tolbert, if you had asked me before, I would have said Jalen Tolbert is definitely going to be our number 3 and been happy about that. But Jalen Tolbert, there's some rumors out there. Some people are like, he might not make the team. Although he's made some really great plays. The other day, this back shoulder catch that he got was just unbelievable. I think there's not a problem with him making the team, being a 3rd-round draft pick. But you got guys like Trayshawn Holden, who has been like a highlight reel in practice. He's made some incredible catches and stuff. And so that's one of those guys that you want to see how they're actually playing, because there's going to be some tough decisions that have to be made here, because you also have another guy that I want to really see is Jonathan Mingo. Now, Jonathan Mingo, I don't know if we gave him a fair shake or not. Now, Carolina, it's crazy because Carolina just like jettisoned all their receivers. And it seemed like a lot of people were saying that, that even Jonathan Mingo wasn't even the best one on their roster, that he was like 4th best. And when he was traded to the Cowboys was, of course, midseason, and he didn't have any time to work with the organization in training camp, and Dak Prescott was gone, and you had Cooper Rush, which we kind of turned more into a running game. Now, it didn't look good and looked like that was a waste of a 4th-round pick, although seemingly he has kind of turned it on a little bit in training camp here and is looking actually pretty good. So between Trayshawn Holden, Jonathan Mingo, and, of course, Jalen Tolbert, and then, of course, you have to end up putting in our kick returner in the mix as well, that you've got a lot of guys that are fighting out for that number 3 spot. So it'd be nice to see how he plays. Donovan Easy. Now, this is the biggest one that I want to see. Well, no, he's actually not the biggest. That would be Jay Tola. He's physically the biggest one. But to see how Donovan Easy comes out is going to be critical, especially with Micah Parsons not in camp right now. If Donovan Easy, a guy who had 15.5 sacks last year, can come out and be Micah Parsons-esque, as in impact-wise, if he can become a guy who gets, like, say, 10 sacks, which would be crazy. Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That if he can be the Robin to Micah Parsons, this is huge for the Cowboys. Because ultimately what you're hoping is between him and Marshawn Nealon that you have 2 really outstanding pass rushers. Because ultimately what you want to have happen is Micah Parsons is smallish to be an edge rusher. Micah Parsons is physically gifted with speed, with strength, and everything else, that he can win against people that are 50, 60, 70 pounds heavier than he is. However, if you have him stationary playing that same spot all the time, you can scheme against him. You can end up having the tight end out there, giving an extra, forearm shiver on his way out, or you can have the running back helping out, or you can have the guard helping out. That you understand that here's where Micah Parsons is coming, here's where we need to swing the protection. Ultimately, if you can get somebody who can hold the line over there and get pressure and use Micah Parsons as a guy who's a wild card, make the quarterback have to literally look, where is that guy that's coming? He's coming for my meats. He's coming for my meats. Where is he? Where is he? That ultimately you're going to get the biggest bang for the buck. So seeing how Donovan does, as well as Marshawn Nealon seems to be the guy who has been kind of forgotten in the mix. But we need to see both of those guys do better than what we have. Of course, we have Dante Fowler that's in the mix as well. We have more edge rushers than we can shake a stick at. But we need some of those guys to be above average. Jay Tola, we need him. We need an instant impact because I am still really concerned between Mozzie Smith's, injury and what you're hearing from training camp, that Mozzie is still not quite taking that next step. I still have a lot of concerns on the team and need to see more from what we have. Ultimately, I don't think the Cowboys are going to do anything as far as filling in the holes. I really don't. You see, we're banged up as far as running backs go, and we go out and we get Malik Davis. But I hope that tonight is a measuring stick or a barometer for the Cowboys to say, okay, we do need to go out and get a Stephon Gilmore here. We need to go ahead and look at, bringing in maybe a better running back. We may need to go ahead and get another defensive lineman, and not just the regular journeyman ones, to actually go out and get some real talent. Because ultimately, that's going to be the difference between us winning and losing. And so Jay Tola is going to be one of those big keys for us, that we need him to come out not like a rookie defensive lineman, which usually takes years for them to get up to speed. We need him to come out and be good from day one because we need an instant impact. So those are the guys that I'm really looking forward to seeing play for us. And hopefully we have a great game and nobody gets hurt, because we cannot afford any more injuries. All righty, good people, as always, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you soon. Peace out.